I consider myself lucky to be able to be allowed to collect fallen timber in my local woods by the owner to use for my own firewood. And it is a good thing for the forest owner as well, as I tidy up the forest floor, and it also makes it easier for people and animals to move about in the forest without tripping on these fallen logs, which can be dangerous. In my local woods, there is a lot of elm, ash and maple, which is good hardwood that burns hot and not too fast. And that is what this episode is all about. Wood, from collecting it in the forest to it ending up in the wood stove. There is many tasks to do, but if you got wood on the brain, like I do, it's all good fun. To haul the logs out of the forest, I use an old Kverneland buck rake on the back of the 590. I try to cut the logs to approximately the same width of the tractor. It makes it easier to lift them on, and they don't stick too far out on each side, getting caught up in trees and bushes. Well, this crazy implement is known as the Widowmaker, because it really is a tool that can cause some serious damage. But I have been using these types of buzz saws since I was a teenager and never gotten any injuries. Yet I do respect it and do not rush the job while using it. One sudden move or fall in the wrong direction can make your fingers or hands suddenly disappear. I cut the logs into 30 centimeters long pieces, which is the length I prefer and what fits best in my stove. The trailer gets quickly full with logs, so next step is to transport it to a spot where I will do the splitting. And the old saying that wood warms you more than once is certainly true. It is a lot of manual labor, but I love it. And there is something addicting about making firewood. The bigger the pile gets, the more you want to make. So I get the buzzsaw going again and continue on. When using a saw like this, the most important thing is to keep your pathway clean. It doesn't take much to stumble on a log and lose your balance, which can be, in worst case, fatal. This is a very old school way of making firewood, I guess, but it works for me. The firewood is all cut up, but the work is not done yet. After a trip to my local timber yard, I have bought some materials to build a firewood bin. My plan is to build a horseshoe-shaped bin on a spot on the property that has a lot of wind, and then put a split wood in it so it can dry over the summer. To keep the wood up from the ground, I will use pallets underneath, and I got a hold of some pallets for free, so they should do the trick. I have always loved the look of a horse-style fence, so I plan to carry that look on my bin. Yet the weather is grey and rainy today, so not really ideal for building things out of wood in it. So I will finish this later. Some days later, the bin is coming together, and the next task can begin: the splitting. Splitting wood can seem a bit tedious, but I like to look at it more like therapeutic. I like to split the wood into smaller pieces. That makes it dry pretty fast, and it also burns a lot more easier. And after some afternoons of splitting wood, the big pile is suddenly gone. The 590 had been working hard lately, so it's time for a service. New engine oil and filter is on the to-do list. Although the tractor is still in good shape after I gave it a slight restoration when I bought it back in 2019. I do feel the paint has faded a bit over the years. So what started out just as an oil change suddenly ended up in a total respray of the tractor. So I began to disassemble the hood and the side panels. My left rear wheel has been struggling holding air as it seeps out over time, so I decided to put a tube inside of it, which really is a pig of a job, especially when the tire is putting up a huge fight to let go of the bead. I have to take the wheel off, lay it flat on the ground, and work the tire bit down with a sledgehammer and hand tools the best I can. And yes, it is extremely heavy. This is not just a rubber tire, but also a heavy steel rim inside of it. Rest. Finally, it lets go, and the tire is loose. Great. But then I have to do the exact same job on the other side of the wheel, so I have to flip it over. But I guess this is my type of workout. I do enjoy it. As autumn has arrived, the freshly painted Massey Ferguson 590 is looking good amongst the fall colors. My firewood has been drying outside for some months, and it has dried very quick and nicely. So now I can start the process of getting it on the roof. so it can keep me warm during the winter time. So there we have it, making firewood. Takes time and requires a lot of manual labor. But when you get nice and dry wood crackling in the wood stove, it is all worth it.